Welcome back to Switch to Linux. I'm traveling early this week, so I figured I'd just go ahead and do a simple screen recording video instead of my full new studio. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Arch repository stuff, including a little bit of a discussion that we had on our supporters call this last week. Of course, have a look at switchedtolinux.com/support if you want to help support the channel. And we do have a call on Thursdays at 7 o'clock for a couple hours. And we can get on there and talk geeky Linuxy stuff. You can find the details over there. But we did the video a couple days back looking at the AUR was compromised, and as of now, I mean, it was over 1,500 packages, and some of these are kind of scary things. I just kind of looked through here, just kind of scanning through to see what's there. There's some crypto wallets in there, simple themes in here. There's also some versions of KeePass, not KeePass XC that I use, but some different forks of KeePass. So let me find if I can get my spelling right there. KL, it's up here. There you go. So I guess that's a French version or FR. There's a plugin for KeePass. There's a KeePass X2 in there. There's also some LibreWolf extensions. DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials extension for LibreWolf. Yeah, that was compromised. Look at this. If you're using CachyOS, eek. Okay, some CachyOS files in there, and there's just a lot of stuff, so you can have a look through this if you are interested. Of course, you want to be very, very careful of using the AUR right now. And there, look at there, there's some Plex Media stuff. You should be using Jellyfin anyway. I don't know, is Jellyfin on here? No Jellyfin. See, use Jellyfin, not Plex. It's safer. But one of the things that they're doing is they're going to be locking down new accounts and not even allowing you to push updates yet, which is also frightening if there is an actual 0 day. That may be blocked if you're using the AUR, so be careful of that. It's FOSS covered a little bit. They pulled a plug on it, new registrations after the malware flood. And effectively, the AUR is a user repository that is unsupported and generally not audited directly by the Arch team. So if you're installing something from the Arch repositories, it's safe. And the Arch repositories is not impacted. It's just the AUR. Now, some systems turn on AUR support automatically, and you may not even be knowing, depending on which package manager. If you're using like a GUI package manager like Pamuk, and it's already set to enable the AUR, and you don't know that, and you're not paying attention where things are coming from, that could be a little bit dangerous. And so you do want to make sure you know where you are installing software from. Even that's where some of the issues of the user friendliness can cause a problem, in that if it's so user friendly that a person can come in here and not know what they're doing and install stuff from a malicious source, then you may not know you have a compromised system. And so that's kind of what they were doing. And they did recommend all users of AUR packages review all package build and install script changes when updating, especially during this time. If you notice suspicious commits to a package, reach out to the Arch staff view AUR general mailing list with more information. Now, fortunately, there is a new version of Yay, which just came out, version 13, which of course you can get from the AUR. Oh dear. This will actually allow you to set your own scripts, and it has extra things that you can review your various package builds. It includes some things to tell you how recently something is been updated, which could, not necessarily is, but could be an indicator of a compromise. So over here, they have various tools to help with this. There's a new timestamp now showing how long it's been since package build last changed. So again, if it's something that's just changed and it's calling some of these JavaScript containers, that can be a little bit of a problem there. And so that really is useful information, although they do say down here, of course, just because it's new doesn't mean it's compromised. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's not. But as they are doing that, I want to have a look over here. I think that was just an article saying they're kind of on this. There's a partial list here. I'm not sure when this was last updated, but that is a list. Let's see. That says of June 11th. So this one's probably really out of date. But here's, I want to bridge into the discussion we had on our supporter call. One of the people suggested that a lot of the reason the AUR is here is because Arch does not have as many packages as some other Linux distributions have. And this means that while using Arch, you could go out there and install anything and everything, particularly through the AUR. People reach out to more untrustworthy places like the AUR because some of the packages are not there. And I went ahead and looked at the raw repository counts to see how well it is. And indeed, if you look at Arch Linux, they only have 15,000 packages in the repository. Here's Alpine Linux in the 20s, 3s, 33s. If you go down, here's your CentOS there. Okay, that's a little bit odd. This is a very server-specific thing, so obviously. Here's your Debian, 35 packages in Debian 12, 32,000 packages in Debian 11, 39,000 packages in 13, 39,000 packages in 14. Of course, Unstable has more because it's the testing ground. And you can look at this and go, yeah, but many of those might be broken. Probably not, actually. They do constantly have the testing, like maybe in the back ports, maybe in the Unstable, you might find something that may not be fully functioning. But by the time it gets released into the main Debian, you're talking about a lot of review into packages, and Debian has twice as many packages available to it than does Arch. Now, of course, some distributions add extra things like CachyOS, for example, which I doubt is on this list. But CachyOS, they have, of course, everything in Arch, but there's some packages that are becoming very popular, like Brave Browser and LibreOffice, and are two examples. There's a lot of packages that are becoming very popular, and so they have chosen to add their own repository where they themselves can vet modern packages. But I looked up, I forgot to pull up the list, but I tried to pull up the list of Arch web browsers. Let's see if I can find that. Arch Linux web browsers. And the problem that I found with the web browsers in Arch Linux is there's not a lot, especially it looks like the functioning list of browsers hasn't really changed in a long time, and there are a lot of newer browsers coming online that are becoming favorites. Vivaldi is here. In my original notes, I didn't see Vivaldi in there. But Vivaldi's there, Firefox is there, Chromium is there. And then there's Bad Wolf, Dillo, eLinks, GNOME Web, of course, and that's about it. Where is the Libre browser, LibreWolf? Where is the Tor browser bundle? Where is the Brave browser? Even WaterFox, which I'm not a huge fan of right now because they've had some compromises in the past with selling out to a big ad tech company and then becoming independent again. So that's good. I mean, generally, I would say they're probably trustworthy, but the challenge is that there are a lot of developments in web browsers in recent years. Why is Arch Linux not packaging the fastest growing and most commonly used web browsers among the Linux community? Which means now we have to go out to external places and install those. And for many people, that usually means going to the AUR because it's, I use Arch, by the way. Of course, I'm using the AUR. Now, I run Brave on my Endeavor OS system. I run mine as a Flatpak. I would trust the Flatpak over the AUR. In fact, a few years ago, I purged AUR packages. I think I might have one still on there. And that would be ClipGrab. I'm curious to see if ClipGrab has been compromised. Not that I've updated my system for a while. But let's see. Yeah, look at that. ClipGrab. Oh dear. Don't install that. Okay. That's frightening. That is an orphan or a foreign package that is installed, and that's the only foreign package installed on my Endeavor system right now. Of course, I use it to extract our video in audio format for a podcast because it's easier for me to extract it with ClipGrab than it is for me to do a separate pull of it. Look at this ClamFS. Ah, okay. There's some dangerous stuff in there. You got to be careful. But if Arch had packaged more packages into their official repositories, I think it would reduce the need of going to the AUR and reduce the cross section of people that could potentially get infected by something like this. So let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments down below, and of course join us on our supporter calls, and you as well can participate in such conversations. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.